Oh, there's where that tablet pen went. I've been looking for this for like 3 months. Lost and found. What other treasures are in here?
Is that Harris sweeps all 7 swing states and ekes out a victory in Iowa. My only reservation is that I don't want to jinx the results, but I'm trying to avoid the trappings of magical thinking. Well, Emma, the magical thinking is what led you to think that Harris would sweep all battleground states. Not that you cited superstitious jinxing. And of course, Trump, not Harris, went on to win all swing states and the popular vote. The average of polls clearly showed Harris trailing Trump. She ran a horrific campaign, stood for nothing, was unpopular with anyone who was paying attention, and wasn't even nominated through a democratic process. She was anointed. How's that for saving democracy? But you worked very hard to launder her reputation and sell her to Americans. So much so that I thought maybe, just maybe, all those Kamala Harris ads that interrupted your YouTube videos were possibly clouding your judgment. But you say you were delusional all on your own. And you know what? I'll take your word for it. But since we're on the topic of issuing corrections, one of your viewers is curious about something that you've said and whether you're going to correct it. One of your viewers wants to know that since I admitted I was wrong, can majority report admit they were wrong, saying there wasn't a Venezuelan gang that took over an apartment complex in Colorado, even though residents were coming out and saying that was going on for months. I haven't heard a peep from the Majority Report. Well, you know what? That's actually a great... Majority Report seemed to direct their audience to harass me for months for accurately reporting that story. When that story was updated to include a horrific incident in which Trinidad Aragua gang members literally kidnapped and tortured a couple that lived in that Aurora, Colorado apartment complex, Majority Report couldn't be bothered with it at all.
On the good people of Virginia, just by looking at the numbers, looking at the proportion of Virginians who have jobs with people disliked him, then liked him. So in that first week Gallup poll, Trump was underwater, 47 approving, 48% disapproving. So that means he was coming in at -1. And like I said, that was something we haven't seen with any other president. And to me, actually, it was shocking enough that I didn't think it would stand. I thought that would be sort of an outlier. But now look at this. Gallup just did its follow-up poll, now 1 month into Trump being back in office, and his numbers have gotten worse. He's not -1 anymore, now he's -6, which makes him, at this point in his term, not only the most disliked and unpopular president in 70-plus years of Gallup polling, Gallup says it actually puts him 15 points below the average polling for presidents. Again, over the last 72 years in which they have been doing this polling. At this point in a presidential term, 1 month in, the average is 15 points higher than where Trump is right now. Nobody has ever started off a presidential term this poorly in the eyes of the American people. I mean, all presidents are above water at this point in their presidencies, right out of the gate. Trump's the only one. Trump was underwater with the American public from day one, and since then he's been sinking like a cinder block in an ocean trench. I did not know to expect that. You know, to be fair, part of the reason I'd expected that Gallup number might go up and not down is because Gallup's not the only game in town. There were other national, well-regarded quality polls that came out right at the start of Trump's term that did show him in positive territory. Not big positive territory, but still positive. Which came out in late January, right after Trump was sworn in.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Hey, what's up, Jim? I just saw that you called earlier tonight. I had my phone on mute from a movie earlier, so I was just reaching back out to see what's up. If you're available, give me a shout back later.
Trump doing okay. I mean, not great, but in that poll, he was above water. He was +3. But now, though, again, 1 month in, that same poll, Quinnipiac, it's flipped. He has gone from +3 in his first week in office to -4 now. That is a quick turnaround for a poll that initially looked okay for him less than a month ago. It looked okay for him, now it looks terrible for him. Why is that? Well, it's because Trump's been doing stuff. And what the data shows is that almost every single thing he has done is soundly and clearly, and in some cases, wildly unpopular with the American people. Again, just look at that Quinnipiac poll that shows Trump underwater right now. More Americans disapproving of him than approving of him.
Hey,
right?
I have
he was +3
a
right after he got
pickup
sworn in, now
order
he's
for
-4.
Russ. Yep.
You can see in the internals of that poll a little bit about what's driving that. Do you approve of Trump's handling of foreign policy? No. Do you approve of Trump's handling of trade? No. Do you approve of Trump's handling of the federal workforce? No. Do you approve of Trump's handling of the Russia-Ukraine conflict? No. Do you approve of Trump's handling of the...
Yes, please.
No. Do you approve of Trump's handling of the economy? No. No, the American public does not approve of his handling of the economy. I think it's only that one because that one's interesting for a number of reasons, and we will come back to that. But you take a look at the broad areas of responsibility the U.S. president has. And on all these broad points, the American public just says, no, Donald Trump, we do not like the way you are handling any of these issues. And then when you drill down, not just to, you drill down from the broad categories of things to instead the stuff he wants you to focus on, the very specific things he's done, his signature specific issues and his signature gambits thus far since he's been in office, the stuff that he thinks makes him look great. Well, those things are even worse than the broad categories. On those things, the stuff he's doing is catastrophically unpopular. I mean, look at this. This is from the same poll. Do you like Donald Trump's genius idea for Gaza? By a 40-point margin, the American people are against Trump.
Okay, so I don't know if it's our cups, but be really careful with this lid because it doesn't. I switched it out and tried to put another one, but it's
policies focused on
Okay.
increasing diversity, equity, and inclusion
Thanks for
in
the
the
heads
workforce are a good thing? The American people say, yes, actually. Yes, actually, we do think that's a good thing. By a 15-point margin, Americans are for that. How about tariffs? Donald Trump's favorite thing, right? Do you think Donald Trump's tariffs will help the U.S. economy or hurt it? By an 11-point margin, the American people say his tariffs will hurt the American economy, not help. How about Vladimir Putin? All right, this is one of the most important things that Trump has done since being back in office. You know, Trump's sitting there in the Oval Office telling reporters, yes, I trust Vladimir Putin, as he throws out 70 plus years of our post-World War II alliances and decides that now we're going to be allied against Europe and with Russia, all because he trusts Putin so much. Well, Quinnipiac polled on that specifically. Quote, do you think the United States should trust Russian President Vladimir Putin or not? 81% of the American public says not. Not. But Trump does. The same national polling shows the American public do not approve of Elon Musk. Individually, Elon Musk's approval is minus 12. But everybody else in his government is underwater. The American public has apparently seen enough already to be against, to be disapproving more than approving of not just Elon Musk by a mile, but Trump as well. And also J.D. Vance is underwater, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the brainworm podcast guy who's now U.S. Health Secretary, and Tulsi Gabbard, who really is the Director of National Intelligence, believe it or not, and Kash Patel, who was confirmed today as FBI Director. All of them are underwater in the new polling. The American public does not like any of them. Not a single one of them is above water. Nobody who they polled on is above water in the Trump administration. And it's not just Quinnipiac. Look at the polling on Elon Musk in the new CNN poll that's out today. By a 2-to-1 margin, Elon Musk having this prominent role in the administration is seen by the American people as a bad thing. 2-to-1 against his prominent role in the administration. In the new Washington Post poll, which we're going to talk about in a second, they've got an Elon Musk question as well. Are you concerned about Elon Musk in his government role gaining access to your personal data and information? American people say, yes, we are concerned about that, by a 29-point margin. And Elon Musk being somehow empowered to shut down federal government programs, is that a good thing or a bad thing? By a 2-to-1 margin, the American people think that is a bad thing. In today's CNN poll, overall, Donald Trump is underwater by 5 points. In the new poll from Pew Research, Donald Trump is underwater by 4 points. In the new poll from Reuters, Donald Trump is underwater by 7 points. In the new poll from the Washington Post and Ipsos that's out today, they've got Trump underwater by 8 points. All of this absolutely historically unprecedented. No president has ever come out of the gate with numbers like this ever before. And it is across the board. But, you know, on that Washington Post one, look at this. Look deeper into that. They've got a -8. Look, the proportion of Americans who are strongly for him is 27%. The proportion of Americans who are strongly against him is 37%. So yes, your perception, your anecdotal perception is correct. He does have a small, fervent base of support, but the base of fervent opposition to him is much larger, like 10 points larger. The same poll also asked, do you want the next Congress, the Congress that's going to be elected next year in the midterms, do you want that Congress to be controlled by the Democrats to act as a check on Trump, or do you want it to be controlled by the Republicans to support Trump's agenda? By a 13-point margin, the country says, Democrats, please, we would prefer the Democrats to be in charge in the next Congress. In the Washington Post polling, do you support Trump banning transgender people from the military? No, by 11 points. Do you support Trump laying off large numbers of federal workers? No, by 19 points. Do you support Trump shutting down USAID? No, by 21 points. Do you support Trump pardoning people convicted of violent crimes related to the attack on the Capitol on January 6, 2021? Do you support Trump's pardon of people convicted of violent crimes on J6? What do you think the number is going to be on that? The answer obviously is no. The American people do not support that, but the proportion of Americans who say that is 83%. That was his first major act. upon taking office as president. 83% of the public disagrees with him. That's a bad plan in politics. Trump started off this term in office with less of the public approving of him than any other president has ever measured in modern polling. Since then, everything he has done has made the public dislike him even more strongly. And the things he went out of his way to do first, and the things he crows the loudest about, are the things the American public likes the least. So the stuff that he's decided to make the biggest deal out of, to like hitch his wagon to make his presidency all about because he thinks the public loves it, the public hates that stuff the most. And you know, I mentioned the economy. I said stick a pin in that. There's something interesting there. Whether or not you think the economy is the most important thing in the country, whether that is what, you know, floats your boat, we have learned the hard way, right, about the distance between what Americans think about the economy and how the economy is actually doing. I understand. So I understand there's a lot of feelings about polling, about the economy, what that means for politics. But in Donald Trump's history as a political figure, one thing he has been able to bank on is a perception, reality-based or not, that he knows what he's doing when it comes to the economy, right? This is the whole billionaire vibe, right? Oh, he seems so rich, so therefore he must be good with money. It's never felt to me like somebody who buys golden toilets is the obvious choice for a good steward of money. But what do I know? That said, look at what's going on with Trump and specifically the perception of whether he knows what he's doing or not on the economy. I mentioned in the Quinnipiac poll, when Americans were asked, do you approve of Trump's handling of the economy? The answer was no. He's -4 on the economy. Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of the economy. CNN specifically asks, has Trump done enough to reduce the price of everyday goods? 62% of the public says no. Even among Republican-leaning voters, specifically, a majority of Republican-leaning voters say Trump is not doing a good job on bringing prices down. In the Washington Post, do you approve or disapprove of Trump's handling of the economy? Disapprove. He's -8. That is the worst number he has had on the economy in that poll since the first year of his first term in office in 2017. Look in the Reuters poll, the number of voters who approve of the job he's doing on the economy is only 39%. That's lower than they have ever recorded for him in that poll, including all of his first term. Asked specifically if people approve of his handling of prices, of the issue of inflation, the Reuters number is even worse. 32% approval. That's an absolutely disastrous number for somebody who has done everything he can to try to make American politics all about prices and inflation. And again, you may not think that prices or voters' perception of the economy or voters' feelings about the president's handling of the economy are the most important things in the world. You know, that may or may not be what drives your own feelings and motivations when it comes to politics. But you know what those things do? They keep every politician who has to run for re-election up at night, all night, every night. Because perceptions on the economy and general approval/disapproval numbers, those are the closest things we've got to something that is determinative to political careers in American politics. And I can hear you through the TV. I can't see you through the TV. I could lie and say that I can't. But I can get the vibe from here. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, yeah, Maddo, sure, okay, that's all well and good, provided we're ever gonna have another election. I know. It is physically impossible to outflank me when it comes to pessimism as to what the Trump movement has in mind for our country. I am right there with you on that. But you know what? I am not thinking here about 2026. I'm not even thinking about the off-year elections in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race in April or in Virginia in November. I'm not even thinking about that. I am thinking about right now in Washington, D.C. and about how much farther they're going to be able to go with what does feel like an attempt to blitzkrieg right through the law, to abolish the constitutional republic and impose a new form of government in which they don't intend to abide opposition of any kind or to ever leave power. That is what I think is going on. And you know, you can plan that for years, you can even plan that for generations. But when you do it, you need to effectuate it quickly, which is what we are experiencing now and why the last month has been so insane. Because they are trying to go as far as they can, as fast as they can, because they know this moment is the time when they will be able to move the furthest, provided they can get there fast. The extent to which what they're doing can be slowed, the extent to which things can just be